What is good, y'all? Welcome back to Appreciate Greatness. Today we have a 2-round mock draft. I did just do one as well on Run the Play Network. It was a live stream. It was a lot of fun. My boy Anthony, Christian, and Philly Phil were on that. So if you haven't seen that, please go check it out real quick. And then come back here and you get all of my opinions. But they do a great job of explaining their pick, and I want to talk about where I differ with them because we did disagree a little bit, and that's okay in the draft world. As you see, we're going to do ESPN's official board because I want to make fun of something tonight, I think. Now, I have explained a lot of picks throughout tonight, so some things I'm not going to explain in super deep detail. You can go watch, again, that live stream. No free ads. No free ads. This mock is going to be a mixture of what I would do and kind of what we've heard, the rumors we've heard around the NBA right now. So, as I say that, I'm going to make sure everything's good, and we're going to start this with Coop, obviously number one. I said this earlier on the live stream. He's the most all-around player or prospect I've gotten to watch. I started in 2022 really watching drafts, and Coop is definitely the most all-around, like, surefire prospect. He's going to be good. Even Wemby, I had some questions of, is the handle actually going to be there in the NBA? Is the three ball actually going to consistently improve in the NBA? And obviously he's answered those questions, but I had questions. With Coop, I don't think I have a single question, really. He does everything at a high level and really well. And so for that reason, he's my number one. At number two, I think you have to go Dylan Harper if you're the Spurs. He's just the next best player. The way he gets downhill and gets rim pressure and the scoring potential that he has really makes it hard to pass up on him, even with Castle, Fox, and Harper. It is hard to see any of those two guys or any of those. It's hard to see there being a pair of those three guys that really fit on the floor well together, but I do think Dylan Harper is the pick no matter what. You have to go best player available there, especially when the best player is kind of head and shoulders above the rest. Now, three, I have Trey Johnson third on my big board, but I think it is kind of, and actually I'll pull that up real quick. Okay, this is my final big board. I don't know why that's like that, but you see Trey Johnson at three, come on. Jeremiah Fears, Colin Coward, Cedric Coward. Hi, Colin Cowherd. No one likes him. But at three to the Sixers, I'm going to give them a defensive stopper. They haven't had one, I feel like, ever. Outside of like Jimmy Butler when he was really good, he was kind of their defensive stopper, but he was also so good offensively, he really wasn't a defensive stopper. VJ comes in, is immediately the best perimeter defender on this team, and pairs with a lot of good shooters in Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Embiid, obviously, Q Grimes, PG. And so giving him the ability to kind of figure out his way in the half court, see if he can handle it a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it's there. That's why he's 8 on my big board. I just don't really trust that he'll ever be a super, super great. Oh, he's 7, on my big board. I don't think he'll ever be a super, super great half court player, but I do trust the jumper to develop, and that's really it. Here at 4, I think the best pick, and I was actually talked into this a little more earlier, except I just don't know if it'll happen. I do think the best pick here is Ace Bailey, though. Ace, to me, is a guy who you need to have playing off-ball early on in his career and then slowly give him on-ball reps. And I think with the Hornets, he gets that. He plays off of Brandon Miller. He plays off of LaMelo. And you throw him in there at the 4. I think it's a really good spot for him. And I think he fits pretty well in the Hornets system. Charles Lee is a very discipline-oriented coach, and I think he'll take care of Ace, who has a low assist percentage, a low rim attempt percentage. I think it's a pretty good spot for him to go at this point in the draft. At 5, I think I'm going to keep this the same as it was as well. Trey Johnson, to me, he's a top 3 prospect to me. And I think it's hard for the Jazz, who don't have like a true guy as a prospect right now. I think it's hard for them to pass on him. He's an ultra efficient scorer. Obviously, you see 43%, but that doesn't really explain how he was getting his buckets. He shot a lot of threes, shot a lot of middies, got good rim pressure still, and was in a putrid Texas offense. And I think that contributes to my falling in love with Trey. I also think he's a better playmaker than what 2.7 assists say and what people are saying around the world with this draft. But yeah, I love Trey. I love his game. At 6, the Wizards. They have a lot of options. The guy I think they're really in love with here is Jeremiah Fears. I think they are going to end up taking him. He's 5th on my board, so I'm pretty bought in on him. Great driver, left and right, very smooth guy. And I've said this before, when you have a guy who's as smooth as him, you don't see those guys failing often. And Fears is one of those guys who I think is just so smooth, and he has shooting potential. He shot 84% from the line this year. In college, hit some great step backs, was their guy down in the clutch, hit a big step back, side step, and one 4-point play 3 against Michigan in the Jordan Classic this year. He's a guy who I think is hard to pass up at 6 if you're the Wizards. At 7, this is a fun pick. I think it's Kaman Malawach. I think giving Zion a really great rim protector. Obviously, you have Yves Missi, but I don't think you prioritize a second-year center over the 7th pick. And Kaman is definitely a guy who has a lot of potential, oozing with it, one could say. Decent touch around the rim, dunks pretty much everything, so you don't really have to worry about that. Really, really insane rim protector. Has long arms. I also really, really like and enjoy watching him when he switched out on the perimeter. I said this on the live stream as well. Please go check that out, by the way. Run the Play Network. They do a great job over there. I can't say it enough. I had a lot of fun in that video as well. Kaman switched on to RJ Davis. I'm a big UNC fan, basketball-wise. He switched on to RJ Davis one possession, and Davis was hunting that switch the whole time they were playing. The UNC Duke rivalry, obviously, and Kaman was holding his own over and over, moving his feet, and it really was the moment where I was like, this guy is legit. This Kaman guy, he's legit, and so I think he's the right pick there at 7. At 8, I don't know if you can tell I've been talking a lot, but my voice is slowly disappearing. At 8, this is really interesting for Brooklyn, because you get a lot of mocks, or you get a feeling that they were really all in on Jeremiah Fears, and now you can't take him with Washington taking him. And the reason I think Washington's taking him is because the Jordan Poole trade today. You also have Bub Carrington, so that might be why you're trying to move on. I think there's a couple of great options here. I think Khan is a very safe pick, where you know what you're getting. You're getting a shooter who can be developed a little bit next to Cam Thomas, not a great defender. But I do think at this point, with what they have as well, Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe at the 4, Derek Queen is a really nice fit. A guy you can kind of let do his thing in this offense, let create a little bit. The 2 assists or 1.9 assists, again, another misleading number. I think he's a much better passer than just 2 assists. He has really good touch, really at the free throw line, definitely really good touch around the rim. And he's just super agile. He's not a vertical athlete where he's going to be protecting the rim. I do think he'll play the 4 a lot of his career, but he's really agile. He moves side to side really well for a 6'10" big man. Probably really the best we've really ever seen at being agile and fitting into tight spaces offensively. We have 9 to the Raptors, and this is interesting. There are like 4 or 5 Masai Ujiri guys here available on the board, and one is really sticking out to me, and it's Noah Asingé. I'm not super high on Asingé, but I do see the appeal. I do think he is one of those high risk, high upside swings that have a midline where they're not necessarily star or bust. Asingé, really high free throw rate, really good transition finisher. Those are the hits. When you're looking for a star, those are 2 of the biggest categories to look at when you're looking at a spreadsheet. Eye test wise, it shows awesome help side defense. It shows really knowing the ability or knowing how to play off ball, the ability to cut, set screens, and roll. He just has really pretty good feel for being a young 6'9" forward. And I think that he fits what Masai loves. He's 18 years old still. He'll be 18 when he's drafted. I believe he turns 19 in December. So I think this is a really Masai Ujiri pick here. And then at 10 to the Suns, as they traded KD for this pick. They need a center, and I don't think that there's any better center on the board here, even though this board says there is. My gosh, this is ugly. I don't think there's any better center on the board here than Thomas Sorber. Sorber, very young, kind of a risk. He has potential to be a stretch big. I feel like that every big in this class has some potential there. He was a solid shooter. He was really, really, really good in the short roll. I would love to get him to the Bulls, as you see on his shorts there, but I think he's going to go before that now with the Suns picking. He's a good screener, has good feel, great touch around the rim, kind of a old school big, and a pretty solid defender. At 11, very weird pick here. Very weird pick. You obviously have Scoot. You traded Anthony Simons. Just trying to figure out what you want to do here as the Blazers, and I think I'm going to roll with Colin Murray Boyles here at the 4 spot. Just getting him on a team who's already really invested in their defense, and we saw it again with them trading for Drew Holiday. I just think he kind of fits what they want to do. They're not super worried about offensive, and obviously this does clog things up. Con Knipple might have been the perfect pick here, and he's kind of falling. And as I'm thinking of it, I probably should have taken him there. Should we? Should we just do it? We can undo it. Let's do it. I like Con Knipple here. Gives you some shooting. You want Scoot to break out. You want Shaden to break out. He's a guy who can space the floor. You don't need extra defense because you have Denny. You have Jeremy Grant. You have Toumani Camara, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA. You have all those guys, so you don't really need defense, and he fits right in. And he's a pretty nice piece. Here to the Bulls, I would like to get them some shooting to help Josh Giddey, to help Kobe White, Modest, Buzelis, who I don't think is a great shooter yet. Colin Murray Boyles would be cool here, playing the 4 maybe, but I just don't see it being a great fit where you do have Vucevic, who can spread the floor a little bit. You also have Jalen Smith and Zach Collins can all spread the floor a little bit. I kind of want to go Carter Bryant or Colin Murray Boyles. Again, Carter is just a really athletic wing defender. Colin Murray is a very solid defender. He needs to be developed offensively a lot, however, and I worry about that with the Bulls. So it's not something I would necessarily do if I was a Bull. But I don't know. I can kind of feel them going Colin Murray or Carter Bryant. I'm going to go Carter Bryant here, 12. He's like Keon Ellis on drugs is how I've kept describing him. He's a great defender, and that's going to be his way in the NBA. He talked about it in an interview recently about fitting in a role at Arizona. You obviously have Caleb Love. KJ Lewis was out there as well. And those are your scorers, right? You don't have to come in and be the scorer like he was in high school where there's scoring potential because of that. He was a good three-point shooter and really good in the catch and shoot and an awesome defender. And I think he's a plus size or super size Keon Ellis. At 13 to Atlanta. I also had this pick, I believe, in our stream. I don't remember what I did here. I think I went Cedric. But here, I think, is a nice spot and a really, really good fit for either Colin Murray Boyles or Nick Clifford. Clifford's a guy you can get in. He's going to do everything for you. He's like a smaller Cooper Flagg in that he does everything really well. He's going to defend well. He shoots the 3 pretty well. It's not knockdown is my only concern, whereas Cedric Coward, I think, is a lot more knockdown, also has room to develop. I also like Colin Murray Boyles here just to add a lot more defense to a team whose, point guard isn't the greatest defender and whose center is a little undersized, depending on what they do with Clint Capella. And there isn't a center here. Obviously, Asa Newell could be a cool guy to keep in state, but I'm going to go Colin Murray Boyles here at 13 with the Spurs picking next. And actually, this is where something really interesting happened that I really, really love. This was Rasheer Fleming, and I love that. Rasheer Fleming is a 4 who stretches the floor, dunks literally everything, rebounds really well, plays awesome defense. He just feels, and his jumper has gotten better every single year he's played in college. He just feels like the prototypical perfect fit there at 14 alongside Wemby. To the Thunder now at 15. Obviously, you see two guys falling here. Joan Behringer, or Johan Behringer, I believe, falling a little bit probably. I really, really, really like Nick Clifford here. I think he's the perfect fit for the Thunder. Obviously, an older guy who's coming in ready to play immediately, can hit the three a little bit, but just does everything super well. And on a team who really, we didn't see it much in the playoffs, but they do move the ball around and spread the love a lot. I think that's a really nice pick. Here to the Grizzlies now at 16. Very interesting pick. Don't really need anything, right? They don't have any needs, which is good. They could just use the best player available, I think. And I do think, best player available, easiest to develop kind of guy here. Ooh. I didn't even realize. Let me get Colin Coward I keep doing it. Or actually, I like Nick Clifford here. I didn't know he was that far down. Where's Nick? Go Nick here, and let's go Cedric Coward here to the Grizz at 16. 17 to the Timberwolves. That's why I need to open my big board a little more and look here, because, man, guys keep falling through the cracks, through the crevices. 17 here to the Timberwolves. It gets interesting. You obviously don't want another small point guard or guard in general. I think this could be a fun wing spot. I also think you can't go wrong with a big here, but just not loving their big options unless you go Asa Newell. Actually, I don't hate it. Let's go Asa Newell. Not going to be drafted as a center, more as a power forward, more as a center. You're going to use him to back up Rudy until he's done, and then you let Asa go. And I think he can play the 5. He's kind of a John Collins-esque player, but taller and a little quicker, in my opinion. Has the stretch ability potential, and I like that pick. Here at 18 to the Wizards, I do think this is a swing spot for the Wizards. I love Nolan Traore. I would love for them to grab him. Really, really love Drake Powell, but I don't know how much they're going to be prioritizing wings. I do think, even though I just said I don't know how much they're going to prioritize wings, I do think Jaeger Dimon here could be really fun. I don't love the jumper. I don't love how he handles pressure, but obviously you have a lot of other ball handlers. Now you drafted Jeremiah Fears, you have Bub Carrington, you have CJ McCollum, and now you can let Jaeger kind of figure it out. He's really bad under pressure, but he's a great passer, but bad under pressure with guys up in him when he's taking the ball up the court. That's my biggest worry. That's my biggest concern. He kind of shied away when he was being picked up high. And so for that reason, he falls a little bit for me, but I do think with other options there and maybe the potential, I do think his jumper is beautiful and developable. So, it could be a fun thought there. At 19 here for the Nets, I think it's the easiest Kasparis Yakuchonis spot available. 19, the Nets don't have a team right now really. Casp is a great passer, has turnover concerns, defense concerns, but he really passes well. Reminds me a little of young Luka, but just not as good, for being real. But I do like that pick a lot for the Nets. Now, the Heat. I'm not going to go to another small guard because I love what Davion Mitchell did. I think you have Tyler Hero and Bam. I think that is, and Killel Ware. I think that's kind of your young core, even though Bam's not super young. And I do think they're going to go wing and a defensive wing. I think Will Riley is a little too much like Nikola Jovic, where there are concerns about the jumper. Duthiero feels so Heat-ish. And I think I can get on board with a reach here. Something about Adu Thiero really just feels Heat-ish. The way he defends, the way he attacks the rim aggressively. I'm going to go Adu Thiero to the Miami Heat. 21 now, the Jazz. High upside swing coming. Again, just a team that doesn't have a ton of young prospects, and I think that's a problem. Now, you take Trey Johnson, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to take a Nolan Traore here. I think he's really good. He's fallen to 21. Obviously, ESPN's board has him 25th. I have him 9th. I think he's really good, and I think NBA teams are kind of going to see him that way. But you can go elsewhere also. Like Noah Penda as a really good defender, and guy who needs developing offensively. Will Riley is a guy who needs developing stocks-wise. He needs developing really entirely offensively. Defensively, he's okay, but I do think there's a lot there to be desired. I'm pretty low on Will Riley, but I do think if he's here, the Jazz are going to grab him at 21. The Hawks at 22. I believe this is now the Nets pick, so let's just trade partner. Oh, do I have to trade with a pick? That sucks. Where the Nets? I guess I'll just give them 26. They have a different pick, don't they? They have a lower pick. Or am I tripping? Alright, we'll trade 26 to the Nets. Oh, they have 36. I'd rather do that. And then... What? Oh, yeah, okay. So I have to trade. I have no idea how this works. Never mind. I'm not doing this. Cancel. We're just going to say this is going to the Nets or something. I don't know. We're thinking about this in the Nets headspace. So they take Jeremiah Fears. They take Jaeger Demon. Now is time to get you... No, they took... Who'd the Nets take? Golly, this sucks. I think they took Derek Queen, didn't they? Derek Queen. I'm thinking of the Wizards. They took Derek Queen. This is their next pick, 22. Let's go Nolan Traore here. A guy who can play on ball, really great passer, has really good mid-range feel, really good feel for his shot, got really hot at the end of the year, was really great last year on a lower level. So I do think Nolan Traore is a great player, and I like that to the Nets or the Hawks. Next up, 23rd to the Pels. This is interesting. I think wing here is the best option, but I could also see like Maxime Reynaud, or they have so many wings. Don't really need point guard. I wouldn't say. You can just kind of take what you want here, or take best player available. Who's the best player left on my big board? This is bright. My goodness. Walter Clayton. He could be pretty fun. He could fit in slightly well. Well, you have Jordan Poole now. You got to remember that. Jace Richardson or Drake Powell here. I don't hate Jace Richardson to come in, play the backup of whatever position you really need, and for him to really run it well and do his thing. Next up, the Thunder at what pick? 24. Let's go ahead and get them Drake Powell. He feels very thundery. He was really good from catch and shoot 44% at UNC last year. Defended really well, can play the 3, can play the 4. Was on a very incompetent UNC team, and I know because I'm a UNC fan. So I like that a lot for them. Next up, the Magic. This is the easiest pick of the draft. We're going Walter Clayton Jr. Shoots lights out. He is a NBA-ready shooter from the likes of, probably the most in the draft, from the likes of being a great catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, off action three-point shooter, off screen, off ball, DHO, whatever it is, he can shoot off of it. Any NBA action, that's what he does. I'm going to take my mic out of my thing real quick. Like I said, I think he's just an elite NBA-ready shooter right now. I'm trying not to be too loud here for y'all. 26 to the Nets. They already took Casp, and then they took Traore. Ugh. I wish I had known, man. I know that, don't they have 22? I'm like pretty certain they have 22. It's alright. Who cares? This could be fun. You have 2 really great passing point guards, and you go out and get a guy who can really kind of rim protect. He's very raw, but you got table setters for him, spoon feeders for him, and I think Young Behringer there could be really fun. 27 now for them. Go get a shooter. Liam McNeely. I'm pretty low on McNeely, but he can shoot. He was very overtasked at UConn. Not a great defender, but I do believe in his shooting ability. 28 to the Celtics here. Noah Pinda makes a lot of sense. I do think Ryan Kalkbrenner is going to be the pick, though. Kalkbrenner is a stretchable big. Shot pretty well in all 4 seasons at Creighton. Won Big East Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in his career. Was one of the most generational rim finishers we've ever seen in college basketball. I think he's a great pick here at 28 to the Celtics. 29 to the Suns. Already got their center. I think we go. I mean, they have Ryan Dunn as well. What if we get a pure passing point guard? I really love Yannick Conan Niederhauser. This is why I have to use my own draft board. I just haven't made it on Fanspo yet. Well, I probably never will, because they didn't have this guy for the longest time, and I didn't like that they didn't have him. So I just made my own on my docs. I do think Noah Pinda. Actually, let's go Maxime Reynaud, I believe is how you actually pronounce it. A guy who has a lot of potential. Obviously, he's already 22, but he can stretch the floor, put the ball on the ground, averaged 20 and 10, averaged a double-double in college at Stanford. I do think he is a really enticing pick. I think he can play the 4. Obviously, you got Sorber, so he can play the 4 alongside him. Here at 30, the Clippers. Let's go Danny Wolf and get interesting. Danny Wolf, I think, could kind of fit along Zoo. We saw it at Michigan, what he was doing with Vlad Golden, who we might talk about later in this draft. I'm not a huge Vlad Golden guy, but he might get picked. Wolf is just a very interesting prospect. He passes the ball really well for a 7-footer. He's kind of inefficient for a 7-footer. He's not a great defender, but he rebounds really well. He passes insanely well, and he has a lot of potential as a on-ball player at 7 feet tall. Here to the T-Wolves is very interesting. We already took Asa, so knowing that, I think you can go shooter. And my best shooter available here, oh my gosh. Ooh, I love that. Let's go Cam Jones here to the T-Wolves at 31. Cam Jones is a guy who his junior year in college played alongside Tyler Kolek, Oso Ighodaro. Didn't play with the ball in his hands a ton. Was still their best scorer, but didn't play with the ball in his hands as much as he did this year. This year he had to take over the point guard spot, and he averaged 6 assists. I mean, he was really great. Showed he could do it with the ball in his hands. Didn't shoot the 3 as well this year,
but is a good three-point shooter off the ball, and I think you can play him however you want if you're the Timberwolves, and that's a really nice guy to have alongside like Rob Dillingham coming off the bench. 32 to the Celtics. I do think this is Noah Pinda time. Pinda is just a really NBA-ready defender, and he's going to linger in the NBA because of his defense. He has time to figure it out offensively. He'll be 23 after his rookie contract's done, and he'll still be one of the better defenders in the NBA. Great body, good perimeter defender, moves well, very smart defender. So 32 to the Celtics, I love it. 33 for the Hornets. They have back-to-back here. I do think this is very interesting. I'm going to go Yannick Konan-Niederhauser here with the first one. But again, there's so many guys here I love. Like Javon Small's too low, in my opinion. Sion James, too low in my opinion. Amari Williams, way too low in my opinion. We're going to go Yannick Konan-Niederhauser, though. Insane shot blocker, insane vertical athlete. Has a lot of potential. Kind of a guy I'm probably too low on. Thinking about it right now, thinking about it really all tonight as I've been making stuff for the live stream tomorrow, or today as this is posted. I'm going to be streaming the draft. I was going to get to that later, but if you're here still watching, please tune into that tonight. If you're watching on draft day, of course. If you're not, go watch my reaction and my coverage to all of the picks if you have any questions. Unless this is a perfect mock draft, and you don't have to. Then maybe I'm predicting it all, so you don't have to. I think at 34 here, we're going Hugo Gonzalez. He's a guy who is playing in the second best league in all of basketball, in the world. He's in the second best league, playing for Real Madrid. And he's obviously not playing to his strengths, and the team's not playing to an 18-year-old strengths. But when he does have the chance to catch and shoot in rhythm, I think he's pretty good. And then he shows flashes of certain things that's like, okay, this guy could be a potential, great player in the NBA. 35 here to the Sixers is where we're at. I'm just trying to think of a guy I would like out here. Now, not every guy is going to become a good NBA player, but I do feel like a lot of these guys late round are good. They're obviously not insanely good or have star potential. I think the only guy available who has star potential is probably Ben Suraf, but I doubt he'll ever reach that. I don't hate Chaz Lanier. He's a great shooter, could put the ball on the ground a little bit, but I think wing here is probably the answer. And in that, it's Jameer Watkins, it's Sion James, and I think Jameer Watkins does fit that build of what the Sixers would want more. There's a lot of good names down the board. Let's go Jameer Watkins. Really good defender. Shot the three all right at Florida State. Just a pretty solid player with some potential, I would say. 36. The Nets have drafted a whole starting lineup already, and now they have the 36th pick. So let's take a swing, man. Let's take a swing at Bogoljo Markovic. Bogoljo Markovic is a stretch four guy who really is enticing because he can stretch the floor, he can pass a little bit, he can put the ball on the ground a little bit even. Defensively, there's a lot to be desired, but I do kind of like that pick. Here at 37, I'm going to do what I did in the stream video, and I'm going to talk about him while I'm looking for him. Actually, we're going to go Amari Williams here. Amari Williams is a guy who can really pass at 7 feet tall. He's insanely fast at 7 feet tall. He rebounds well. He can stretch it a little bit, not like a ton. There's potential there to stretch it a little more, but I do think he is kind of like an Isaiah Stewart clone, just a little better and a really, really good fun passer for Cade to play off of when need be. The Spurs already had a great draft. Dylan Harper, Rasheer Fleming. I think I want to get him a backup center. I want to give him a guy who can play in the minutes where Wemby is out. I don't think they have that. Obviously, Charles Bassey's decent, but... Or you could go Eric Dixon, just the best shooter or scorer in all of college basketball and pretty good efficiency as well. And he can play alongside Wemby. Igor Milicic is a guy who can stretch the floor a little bit. What just happened? Okay, we're chilling. Ben Saraf, probably not the pick here, but he's falling down the board a little bit. He'll probably go next pick, actually, now that I look at it. I do want to back up center, though, I think. And how about... I'm thinking about stacking Twin Towers. That'd be fun. I don't think there's a wing that is going to help them right now or in time being. Let's go. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. Let's go Janai Broom. I think he got injured late in the season, was really dealing with it a lot of the year with his ankles. That kind of concerns me, but he's a great shot blocker, has really good timing, pretty good passer, but works out of the post a lot, has stretch potential, can shoot the three a little bit. But I do think he's a pretty solid defender in drop and could be a guy you have back up Wemby. I'm not super high on him, but I do like his game. 30, we're going Ben Saraf. Saraf has fallen a lot. He's 39 or 30 on this board. He's 36 on my board. 39 is where he's going here. Just a really pure point guard. Okay, now we have the Wizards again. I do think big is the pick here. I think you have to go big after going Fears and Dimon early in the draft. It's either Ulbrich, it could be Victor Locken. He's a guy with stretch potential, blocks shots pretty well. Really, really good in drop coverage. I actually don't think he has much stretch potential now that I say it. Maybe he does. I thought he shot the ball well last year. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. Sometimes I get these guys ran together. I'm going to go Victor Locken. I really like him out of Clemson. 22 years old, but, taking old bigs doesn't really work out much, but I do think that's fun. Here to the Warriors. This is interesting. A lot of guys I love left, too. Let's go Kobe Sanders. He's 6'9" point guard. Obviously passes really well, and this is a system that loves passing, loves movement, loves having great feel, and Kobe Sanders at 6'9" has great feel out of Nevada, and he's staying close to home, so I love that. The Kings, this is an insane pick to pick for. There's just nothing you can really do to help them. Probably want to go big. Probably want to go center here. Don't love the remaining centers. I don't know why that's out of order. Let's go Grant Nelson here. He's a guy who can rim protect a little bit. Why are those so massive? Rim protect a little bit. Has stretch potential, but I don't think it's much. Pretty early for him, but I do really like Grant Nelson's game. The Jazz here. Trey, Will Riley, 43rd now. What are we feeling? Probably Tyrese Proctor. Maybe Sion James. Maybe Kobe Brea. Let's get them a point guard. Javon Small is an absolute dog. Plays defense, play makes. Pretty much carried this West Virginia Mountaineers team the entire college season. Was really, really good. He's a guy I really like at 43. To the Thunder here, you want shooter, you get shooter. Kobe Brea, all he does is shoot 45% from three last year at Kentucky. Shot 40+ every year he was in college. Like, this guy is the definition of a straight sniper. Doesn't do much else is the concern, but gotta love it. Bulls probably want to get them a center. Honestly, let's just take Hanson Yang. Let's give them something fun to cheer about. 19-year-old prospect out of China. Doesn't defend well. That's my concern. But he showed in the combine he's a pretty good passer. Has good post feel. Can probably pick and pop a little more than they were giving them opportunity to in China. So most of these picks don't matter. Most of these picks aren't going to convey into much. But I do like some of these guys left, like Tyrese Proctor to the Magic. Sion James also here out of Duke. But Proctor improved every year shooting-wise, improved every year just as a player at Duke, and had a really nice run in March until a big game and kind of fell off in the Elite Eight, or had a tough game in the Elite Eight. But I do really like Tyrese Proctor. Here to the Bucks. You can go Zerkarski, has some stretch potential, but like everyone does at this point as a center. I love Micah Peavy. He's a really solid player from Georgetown, transfer from TCU, as you could see the big TCU there. I do think I want to get him shooter, and Sion James is a guy I love. I'm really high on Sion James. He is 31 on my board right there. I really like him. He's a really great defender. He does really whatever you need him to offensively. He shot really well at Tulane, shot well at Duke last year, did whatever they needed him to. He's a great player. He's an awesome, fun guy to have on your team. Here to the Grizzlies, Chaz Lanier is just falling way too far for me. He's an insane shooter. Can do it off the dribble, can create his own a little bit, but just shoots the crap out of the ball. And he's a guy who I think with Ja could really, really be fun for them. John Tonje here to the Cavs is fun. A guy who probably played the 3, was really great just getting buckets. He kind of reminds me of Johnny Davis, and obviously that has a negative connotation, and it might be the Wisconsin jerseys, but I do really love his game. I think he's a great shooter. I'm not sure about how the 3 will look, but I do think he's also a great defender, and he's just kind of a guy that the Cavs could try to use as their 3-man. He might go a lot higher than 49 tomorrow night, or tonight, as I'm recording. It's tomorrow night, but well, for only 2 more minutes. 50 to the Knicks. Not a pick that matters a ton for a contending team at this point. Kind of could keep a guy in New York. That'd be fun. Could go Mark Sears, which is Jalen Brunson 2.0. Get a guy who can bring off the bench and trust to play defense, play make a little bit, score. I like that. Try and get him to be Jalen Brunson 2.0 in non-Jalen Brunson's minutes. Why not? The Clippers. We took Danny Wolf, which is interesting. Really interesting fit there. They're a team who's defended pretty well. Who defended pretty well last year. I do think Dink Pate is a guy who should be drafted. 18 years old, but there are better spots for him. Let's go shooter, Hunter Salas. I really liked him last year a lot more than I did this year. I was way higher on him last year. He was 30 on my board. Now he's 51. But I do think he's worth a selection, and the Clippers could get something out of him. Sorber and Reynaud so far for the Suns. Tuhi still being here is interesting. He definitely improved this year. I'll give him that. I'm still just not super high on him. The Suns need a guy like Ryan Nembhard, in my opinion, and he has fallen way too far compared to what I think about him. He's an insane playmaker. He's one of the best playmakers college basketball has seen in decades. And I think he could come on to the Suns and do exactly that, playmake. And he's a sneaky, really pretty solid scorer and offensive player. So I really love that for the Suns and Nembhard. 53 to the Jazz. Let's go Alex Tuhi here. Just a high upside swing who can kind of play the 3 or the 4. Even though he's not super big, he can, play the 4 a little bit. He's a lot like Drake Powell in that way, I would say. Just a kind of a development pick. 54 to the Pacers is interesting. I do love Neoclis. Oh my gosh, never mind. I do love Neoclis, but he is going to Tech, so Virginia Tech, that is. The Pacers, what would we do here? Let's go Dink Pate. Let's not. Faye's going. Phi is not in the draft. Let's go Rocco Zerkarski. He could be the Miles Turner replacement. I'm sorry if this video is getting tough to listen to. I've been talking for about 3 straight hours now. But Zerkarski is a really great player and has some stretch potential, like I've said. He knocked down like 30 straight threes in last year's combine. He's a really good combine player. 55 to the Lakers. I think you need a shooter. Tamar Bates is that. Caleb Grill. is also that, and that's the guy I'm going to go to here. Grill, a great shooter, an insane athlete, and just a really fun player here at 55. 56 is forfeited. We could go with a guy who doesn't exist, but I want to give a guy some love here. Let's just go with a guy who's not in the draft, actually. Michael Ruzic. 57 to the Grizz. Again, they got Coward. They got Lanier. They're doing well. Let's go Ulbrich here. A 4-man. That's all I got to say. 58 to the Magic. I'm tired. Let's go Dink Pate. A guy who's really athletic, long wing, can really defend. Can also kind of play the point guard if you want him to. 59 to the Cavs. Let's get them another wing. How about Micah Peavy? Good scorer. Kind of does it all. Combo guard / wing in my eyes. And doesn't shoot the ball particularly well from 3, but can definitely probably have some sort of potential there. Who do I want to give a shout out to? A lot of these guys. Chucky Hepburn, great defender, great point guard. Will Richard, really pure scorer. Igor Milicic can stretch the floor a little bit. Max Shulga, great shooter. Miles Kelly, great shooter. Jackson Money's the guy I'm going to pick. I cannot believe he fell this far. Insane offensive talent. Great passer. 6'10" and has shot 40+% from 3 basically every year of his college career. This was his first D1 year, and that's the concern. But he is an awesome offensive player and has a lot of potential to be an offensive hub. 4 assists per game, shot 41% from 3 on 5 attempts. He's awesome, and that is it. Comment down below your favorite pick, or maybe pick you hated that I made for your favorite team. I don't know. It kind of got a little wild, I feel like. A little out of control at times. But I do like how it turned out for the most part. I do think a lot of these picks, or some of these picks, will happen. That's all I think. Let's get a snapshot. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys continue to come back here for draft stuff. And again, I'm streaming the draft tonight. It's going to be great coverage. I'm going to show you a little something. Look at this. Look how cool this is. You know what I mean? I got this little ticker on the bottom here. It's not really... There it goes. That's my big board down there, and you're going to see some graphics here. They're just kind of floating in the air right now, but some graphics I've made and stuff like that. So I hope y'all did go on to enjoy this video. Please leave a like and subscribe. I was going for 100 subscribers by my birthday. That's passed. So let's go for 100 subscribers by the time that college starts back up in August. All right. I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.